Okay, so welcome to Channel T episode 27. I am privileged and honored to have this guest here at the current, point in the space-time continuum. I do want to give a quick shout out to Day One Media, Concept Collective, Poppy's Tacos in Los Angeles, and Anchor for just, supporting and, being the dope network that pushes Channel T up, along with all my fans. Shout out to everyone. And this gentleman here, I don't know if that's the proper term for how you've come here, but he is considered UK or England's strongest woman, would you say?
UK.
UK's
UK.
strongest woman. It's his first time in California. He was just on the Joe Rogan podcast like a couple days ago, and it's more than an honor to have him here. So please, without further ado, help me welcome Mr. Zuby Music, aka Zuby, aka strongest female in the UK.
There we go.
Sir.
A lot of misgendering going on there, but
Yeah.
I'll allow it. I'll allow it this
How
time.
triggered are you right now?
How triggered? Scale of 1 to 10. Light 6.
Hey, that's
Yeah.
okay. That's okay. That's Channel T for you. So you've been in Cali for a couple days for your first time. Not to sound too redundant, I know you've done a lot of interviews since you've been here.
Yeah, man.
But overall, how would you compare like your time here to like your daily life in England?
Yeah, dude, it's been nuts. I mean, obviously, I came here on a mission with a lot of interviews and podcasts and cool stuff lined up. Met a ton of great people. Met a lot of people who I'm a fan of, people I've been following, people I admire, and then lots of people who I sort of know online through Twitter and other social networks, but haven't met in person in real life before. So it's been dope, man. It's been a really good week so far. I'm actually going to be in the States for 9 weeks in total, hitting 8 different cities. So, LA is the first stop, but I'm looking forward to checking out more of the country.
No, man, that's awesome. You're probably going to see more of the country than I've ever seen, so that's cool. And I definitely appreciate your time being here.
That's all good, man. It's all good.
What's cool about like your journey, I mean, like throughout, I'd say like the media outlet in general, is that, for me personally, it's very inspiring because I feel like we live in a time that's kind of like you can't really do that kind of stuff without like facing backlash or have differing opinions without it being like, controversial or whatever. And I don't know if you've seen like Dave Chappelle's like recent Netflix special, but I feel like, normal people or like people with like, common sense and like who are able to adapt to whatever environment are kind of like being dragged for no reason, just for like living our daily lives. So like for you, sir, I commend you on everything you've done. Thank you for your input into the world because it's definitely inspired, people like me to continue on with like, carrying my ideas through all this like BS that we face every day.
Man. You're most welcome. It's important.
Yes.
There's been a backlash against the truth forever. That goes back to biblical times and probably earlier on than that. So it's nothing new. It's just that now people have Twitter.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So let's get started. For people who like don't know you, aside from the whole like weightlifting championship stuff, like what do you do? Like what's your main like I'd say like occupation or like what do you spend your time doing?
Gotcha. So I'm Zuby. I'm a full-time independent professional rapper and creative entrepreneur. I run the Real Talk with Zuby podcast, which I started at the beginning of the year. I'm also an author. I wrote my first book, which is a fitness book called Strong Advice, Zuby's Guide to Fitness for Everybody. And then I'm also I do various things. I do some public speaking here and there. I've done a little bit of life coaching and fitness coaching for people before. And I'm someone who's just got a positive, inspirational, motivational message I want to spread out there. I want to spread truth, reality, authenticity, fun, humor, all the kind of things that encapsulate myself and my personality. And I want to inspire people to reach and fulfill their own potential and to have fun in the process, I hope.
That's so beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Straight up. No, that's cool. That's beautiful. For me, this is our first time meeting, actually. So I am 24. I'd say I'm still in school. I haven't finished yet, but like I'm kind of like taking a break, kind of carrying through the entrepreneurial spirit. And like you, I do indulge in the rap. My cousin here is a sound engineer / he produces and we collab on like many beats and he sings too. So like we make tracks. I work in IT And yeah, like I'd say like my I guess vices are more so like motorsports. You know, communicating with people, like
Mm-hmm.
whether it's a CEO or a homeless person, I'm gonna have like the same conversation with them, like
Yeah.
very human. Like I'm trying to bring back human interaction that got lost within like technology and stuff
I
like
hear
that,
you.
you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And before we move on, I have a surprise for you.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
okay.
Hold on. Ah!
Oh, wow.
Got you this because you're a world traveler now.
Thank you.
So here you go, sir.
Do I open this
Open it, man. Hell yeah.
It's a lot
Welcome to California.
It's a lot of paper.
There's a lot of paper, dude. That's the
Do I
the
just,
part of it. Just rip it off, dude. You can
just
put it on the
rip it off?
floor,
Okay.
whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Tear it up, man.
Tear that out. Tear
Use that
out.
UK weightlifting championship
wow.
strength.
It's a lot of paper there. I
So,
was
okay, go
Okay.
ahead, unravel that. Dude, that is a Channel T t-shirt designed by my cousin.
oh, wow.
So, I mean, to be quite honest with you, I know like European sizes are different. So that's an XL. I know you work out. So you can literally make that like a muscle shirt. It's like when you go to the gym, it's like you have a homie who's like locked up. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a free Channel t-shirt for
Yeah,
those
man.
of you who are listening and not watching.
That's a big T-shirt there, man.
Yeah. So you
like-
could literally cut it up, make it like a muscle shirt.
Okay.
I feel like that'd be dope for you. Since like
Okay.
you do you're big on fitness and
I
stuff
am
like
big on
that.
fitness.
And then at the bottom, it's just business cards. So you can give to your friends. There's a QR code on the back of the card. So like, you know, like, hey, yo, check out
Okay,
Channel T's
cool.
video. Bada bing, scan it. They go to my YouTube page.
No doubt, man.
So that's
I
for
got
you, bro.
I got
Welcome
you.
to the show.
I appreciate it, bro. Thank you.
Yes. So let's get into it, man. So heavy hitter question. What was kind of like your main inspiration for like trolling everybody in the UK? Like, you know what I mean? I for me personally, like I was so satisfied with like the fact that somebody did that. You know what I mean? So I need to know the inspiration, bro.
Yeah.
Like how did it click in your head to where like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna do that shit.
So, I mean, it's been a number of years where I've seen the world getting weirder and weirder. You know, you hear people talking about we're living in clown world, and people will define it in different ways. But I'm just noticing things going sideways in various degrees over the past sort of 6 to 7 years, maybe. And it's something I've spoken about with people in private and thought, this is a little strange, or what do you think about that? Or people have shown me various things. I've seen things online that are happening primarily in the Anglosphere, in the UK, in America, in Canada, in Australia sometimes. And you're sort of seeing little things popping up here and there. And one of these things has been this phenomenon of, I guess what you could just call gender ideology of people.
Gender
ideology, confusion, redefinition, just.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
So
okay.
It won't turn up in the mics.
I wasn't ready for the sound
But
effect.
this is a studio building, so
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
this whole every room in here is they go pretty hard, so I hope it doesn't like resonate.
Okay.
We'll be good. My bad, dude.
Yeah, no
Sorry
worries,
for the
man.
alarming.
No, it's all right. I was just like, ooh, is everything all right? He was telling me about earthquakes last time you were
Oh
in here. So
man. Okay, yeah.
making sure it's not
You had to
that.
scare him, bro. Good job. No, just kidding, just kidding.
it's a little bit distracting.
Yeah, they're like a room right there. But it's cool, you know.
Yeah.
It won't turn up in the mic.
It's all right. I'm just trying to. It interferes with my brain. What was I saying? So yeah, seeing some of these things popping up, and then the whole self-identification in sports thing I had been seeing. So I'd seen various sports from MMA to boxing to football, what you guys would call soccer, to wrestling, weightlifting, all these sports, handball, and you're having, I guess, either transgender women or men who are identifying as women. I don't know the right way to phrase these things perfectly to keep the PC police off my back, but biological males competing against biological females and generally crushing them, dominating them, taking their records. This has been something that I was saying was going to happen, and people thought I was crazy, and then it's continued to happen, and it seems to be ramping up and becoming something that becomes more and more possible in various sports organizations because people are allowing it. And as anyone who is, not totally brainwashed by craziness knows there are differences between men and women. Our bodies are built differently. We have different levels of hormones.
Biological facts.
Biological facts. Different bone structures, different lung capacities, different reaction speeds, different levels of testosterone, muscle mass, height, all of these factors which give men, in general, biological, physical strength and speed advantage over women. And that's fine. That's why you split sports by sex to begin with. And so I kept seeing these stories popping up. And on the day I posted that one, I'd seen one which was a story out of the U.S. and it was in a high school. And you had a women's race. I don't know if it was the 100 meters or the 200 meters, but the first place winner and the second place people were both biological men in the women's competition.
Holy moly.
Right? And I was like, okay, this stuff is getting super silly. And so just out of curiosity, I was like, I wonder what the women's powerlifting records are in the UK. And I just did a quick Google search and I saw, oh, the deadlift record is in my weight class, 84 kg weight class. The deadlift record is 215 kg, which is 60 kilos less than my maximum, 100 pounds less than my max. And the bench press record was about 110 or so. And I was like, okay, and that's like 35 kg less than my maximum. So I just pulled up a couple of videos that I already had on my phone from previous training sessions where I was doing more than both of those weights. So I took the deadlift video, a deadlift video of me doing 230, and I posted up on Twitter just saying I keep hearing about how I keep hearing people say there's no biological difference between men and women. So watch me destroy the women's deadlift record without trying. So it was just a video of me deadlifting 230 without that much effort or strain. And I just posted it up there as a little joke. And I wrote, I identified as a woman while lifting the weight, so don't be a bigot. And
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Don't be a bigot. Like
don't be a bigot.
Like,
yeah. So I posted that thinking, it'll get a couple of laughs, a couple of LOLs from my followers and whatever. I did not expect it to become this international viral phenomenon that would get me.
You blew up, bro. You blew up. I saw you here in Cali, bro. Like that tweet reached the California network somehow.
It did.
Like, you know what I mean?
It reached a lot of networks.
That was the genesis, bro, of like you revolutionizing the world, man. Straight up.
So I posted that thing, a little bit tongue in cheek, thinking, that'll be a little bit funny, but I think the timing of it, plus the wording, plus the video, everything just hit a bunch of nerves at once. And the tweet went super viral, did like 7 million impressions, 1.7 million views.
Wow.
Tens of thousands of retweets and likes. And it just blew up in all these different circles. In the UK, abroad, all these different countries, all these different people. And I'd sort of created this monster slightly inadvertently. And then I stoked the fire a little bit more by proceeding to post a video of me breaking the women's bench press record and, other things like that. And then responding to a few of the critics in the video by accusing them of bigotry for denying the fact that I'm a woman. So it was a little bit of fun, but I think it touched on a pretty serious and timely topic that a lot of people were actually discussing at the time, which I wasn't really aware of how deep it went. So yeah, that went out there, and at the time I posted it, I had 19,000 Twitter followers and just cracked 120,000 today. So things have gone a little bit nuts, and
yeah, for sure. Now, like with that, okay, obviously you felt a certain way about this whole, like, I don't want to call it like an epidemic, but like you saw the potential.
Sorry, it's really distracting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, no, it's all right. Do you know them? Can they turn it down?
I wish, bro,
would
dude.
they
Like,
not?
we haven't even isolated which room it is.
Oh, right.
But like, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. It's more so like this whole building is like a studio building too, so it's like we could pull up on them, but it's like
I get you.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, fuck you, you know.
Yeah. No, that's right.
But I was gonna say, like, within like you and like maybe your circle or like your group of friends or maybe like, the people who share the same worldview as you, is that like a common opinion in like, let's say the UK, or like would you more so say it's more like here where they're fighting for the non-binary agenda, or like you feel you have to make everyone feel comfortable in whatever they identify
sure.
as?
So sorry, is the question?
So my
Yeah,
this is super distracting. I know.
Yeah, it's distracting.
My
it's
bad.
Confusing. Yeah.
I was saying like within your group of friends and stuff, like do they share the same opinion as you? Like in regards to like the whole identification
Yeah.
type deal, or is it like a super polar opposite view in the UK?
I think most people share my view and my opinion, but most people are afraid to voice that
Yeah.
because we live in a time where a lot of people are just afraid to voice any opinion that might not be considered politically correct or which might bring a mob that comes and attacks them and calls them mean names. I'm quite fortunate in the fact that I know who I am, I know what I believe, I know what my thoughts are, how I treat people, whatever. I know that nothing I do is driven by hatred or anything like that. So I'm not afraid to say things for what they are or to state any of my personal beliefs or even just realities. Some things are not even opinions. There are certain things which are just facts. It is a fact that men and women are different. It's a fact that everybody is implicitly and acutely aware of, and society is, we wouldn't exist if that weren't the case.
Oh, for sure.
Firstly,
For sure.
But everyone's aware of that implicitly and explicitly. So it's weird to, have the situation where you're supposed to suspend reality, observable reality, for the sake of some sort of ideologically driven goal or whatever. Now that doesn't mean that you treat people badly or you exclude people or you want to have some kind of like bigotry or discrimination against people who don't feel like they fit into the norm in any regard, and you don't want to structure a society where that's the case, and I agree with that. But at the same time, you don't want to, with something like the sports thing, you don't want to step on the toes and the security and the safety of 50% of the population, meaning girls and women, to sort of appease a very, 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 very tiny percentage of people, when there are solutions and there are ways that those people could be included or could participate or play in sports that doesn't have that negative impact on half the people, right? You could have, if people are transgender, you could have transgender women competing against other transgender women. Or you could just have an open category where it's like, look, anyone, regardless of who you are, what your genitalia are, what you identify as, whatever, anyone can compete in this thing. And that's fine. That's inclusive. That's the rule. That's the best of the best. Let the best person win. And you can do those things. It's not about having some kind of animosity or hatred or anything like that. That's not what it's about. It's just simply about fairness and about reality.
That was so well said. Like, I feel for people who share like a similar opinion, they get so attacked, and like the people who are attacking them don't understand that they feel that way. Like they're not saying it out of hate. They're not saying it out of like they want bad things to happen to this group of people. It's just more so like, hey, like you said, it's a biological fact. Like there's a difference between biological men and biological women.
Of course.
It's crazy, bro. And like nowadays, especially here in Southern California, I mean, we have tons of cities who are like pride cities. Like we have Long Beach, Hollywood, Westwood. I think is actually a pride city.
What does Pride City mean?
It's more so like there's a lot of there's a huge homosexual population. Like the majority of them are like homosexual. It's
Okay.
like Long Beach, you'll see like the gay pride flag like everywhere. They have the
like
gay pride parade there.
like West Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you have that opinion, like I would say I share the same opinion. You know what I mean? Not only do people kind of like isolate you and like alienate you and make you feel like you're a bigot or something like that, it's getting too invasive to where like, I don't know if you remember Dave Chappelle's show where he was like talking shit on the audience, where he's like, I will ruin you, I will make sure you don't get anything, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's a huge, like there's a huge problem with like just being able to express yourself nowadays.
Yeah,
especially in regards to this topic.
which is very ironic.
right? I mean, we're supposed to be the most liberal state. We're
Oh,
supposed to
that
be the most,
isn't the whole idea about pride that people can express themselves,
yeah.
or
And
they
it's
are,
like,
right?
look,
So
you guys
it's
already
kind of
have your
ironic.
rights.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like I personally have like friends who are gay and lesbian. Like, you know
As
what I
do
mean?
most people, yeah.
And it's like a normal thing. I'm not against it. I'm not anything, but like I have the right to say like
Yeah.
what I have to say.
And that's a different thing. Look, because that's also a reality. If you're if someone is a man who is sexually attracted to men, or if someone is a woman who is sexually attracted to women, then it would not be reality for them to pretend to be otherwise, right? That's, reality. But it's not reality to say that, biological men and women are not different. Like, one of these things is based in reality, one of them is not. People always conflate the two for some bizarre reason, because they come packaged up together, and it's like, no, these are not the same thing, right? We're talking about two very different
polar opposites.
Yeah, we're talking about two very different issues here. So, and neither of this is not. Yeah, I don't know. It's strange to me how they get conflated, but it's like, I'm talking about something different here. This doesn't. What I'm saying has nothing to do with who somebody is attracted to.
Yeah.
this
Literally.
this is a totally different topic. This is just saying, like,
It gets misconstrued, like within the mix,
Yeah, this is saying, I don't think that,
They're going hard.
They're going hard.
They're going ham. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like UK grunge, like.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I lost my train of thought there. But I think I've said my piece.
Shut up! No, and what's funny is like they're actually started right when we started almost.
Yeah, they did. It was like
perfect timing.
They've started the podcast.
Perfect timing.
Let's get it.
But no, man, well said, well put. Being heterosexual and like.
How dare you?
Yeah, I know. How triggered
it's
are you?
2019.
Yeah. Especially within my generation. I mean, are you considered a millennial? Would you say?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I'm like the last year of like millennials.
Oh, okay.
And then having the generation before me. I mean, like, think about like tutors, mentors. Like, I've mentored kids who are younger than me. You know what I mean? Seeing how they're growing up, it's like I feel they're even more sensitive to like the whole topic. It's like even when it comes to like animals, even they're like, did you just assume that animals' gender? It's like,
are you serious?
Dude, you're not. I'm not even kidding you, dude. Aside from TikTok, like that's all they talk about. Like,
really,
just like who they are, like what they identify as. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
it's very narcissistic.
It's even to the point. I don't know if they do this in the UK, but like they have like transsexual human beings, like read books in like school libraries.
Oh,
and like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have that over there, but like,
it is a thing over there.
And
as
like,
well.
it's like in the first grade, they like influence the idea of the kids selecting their own gender, like that young. You know what I mean? They're like hypersexualizing.
Funnily
these
enough,
children.
we were talking about this a little bit in the ride over. This is literally what we were saying, and I was like, look, anything with a lot of stuff, I draw a very hard line when it comes to stuff involving children. It's like, look, if you're a grown adult and you want to do whatever it is that doesn't harm or maim or kill anybody else or take from anybody else, people can have their opinions on what is right or wrong or what they approve of or what they don't approve of. But ultimately, I'm like, certainly from a legal perspective, I'm like, well, you can do what you want. If you want to, I think tattooing a barcode on your forehead is a terrible idea. But if you want to do it, you can do it. I think it's a bad idea to, put a hole like in your face or something, or put like a spike that sticks out of your forehead. I think that's a terrible idea. But you can do it if you really want. So that's my general approach. It's like, live and let live. I don't think people should do everything, but I think if you're an adult, you should be able to do most things. Like I said, as long as it's not harming anybody else. But if you're talking about a kid, you're talking about children, then that's where you draw a line. There's a reason you don't let children drink alcohol. There's a reason you don't let children consent to anything sexual. You don't let them smoke. You don't let them, you don't let them do a lot of things, let alone pick their own gender and go on hormone treatment and start having surgeries and whatnot that are going to affect them for a lifetime. And if people can't see that, then I just think they're totally blinded by ideological factors. They're not thinking straight. Like, that's an experiment that we don't need to do. Let people grow up, let people become adults, and then adults can make those decisions.
I'm sure you've seen those shows where like it's like maybe like a weird parent show or like Taboo or something like that, and it's like that mom who's like, oh, like Billy was born in November, but I've always felt he was a woman, and like it's like this kid grew up just like his mom forcing him to wear pink, like his whole room's pink. It's kind of like the same
sad.
idea, like, you know what I mean? It is. It's
sad.
It's like deranged. It's a deranged action to like I feel like every being should have their own right to like develop who they are.
Sure.
And I mean, school does play a big part in developing, you know, who we are today, especially, you know what I mean? But there's a hard line between like developing someone or like forcing ideologies upon like pupils and stuff like that, you know? So it's crazy. I'm glad that like, you know, and so in the UK, would you say that like there's not as many like, I don't know if you guys use the same term, but like social justice warriors. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of like snowflakes. You guys say snowflakes out there, right?
Yeah, I think those are two different terms, though.
Okay.
Yeah, those are two different terms. To me, a snowflake is just somebody who can't handle any...
Gets triggered just all the time.
People get triggered very easily and can't handle anything that's potentially offensive or any sort of slight or any type of aggression or conflict or anything like that. You know, people who melt. People who think they're super special, like, you know, how they say every snowflake is unique, so... You've got people who think, oh, I'm special, I'm different, everybody's different, I'm totally unique. And then they also melt at the, you know, when there's any kind of heat. So that's what determines someone being a snowflake. Social justice warrior is more like ideologically driven, you know, far left type who wants to, you know, in a rather authoritarian way wants to sort of
force you to believe in their opinion.
Exactly, force everybody to believe in their own opinion and ideology, whether it comes to societal stuff, cultural stuff, political stuff, whatever the case may be. So that certainly does exist in the UK. I don't know how to quantify it and compare it with the US.
Yeah.
In the US, it seems to be coastal mainly.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
aside from Florida. But they're just weird out there, man. Like all our headlines come from Florida.
Florida man.
Florida man chopped Gator's arm off.
Florida
and
man
sucked
is
it
a special
whatever.
guy. Yeah, Florida man does everything.
Yeah, like New York, LA, San Fran, definitely like super
yeah.
liberal, like Hillary Clinton, like
Yeah. So you know, it's
OC is actually very conservative. I'd say.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
It's like the strongest, I'd say, conservative densest population of conservative people here in California.
Yeah.
You know. You have an extensive worldview. I mean, like you were born in the UK, and then you went to boarding school in Saudi for 19 years, and then you went to Oxford. So I mean, you've been around quite like, you know, you've had culture shock like left and right. I'd say.
Yeah, and I've been to 30-something countries too.
Yeah, I heard that on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Okay, yeah.
So I mean, when it comes to like your source of news or source of headlines, like what would you say, like where do you
Twitter.
get your daily dose from?
Twitter,
Me too.
Yeah,
it's
I'm not even joking. I don't own a television.
Yeah, it's like organic, like you just search a hashtag or like you search like whatever is going on, and then you get the whole like real deal going on, especially with Periscope.
I heard Twitter described as like it's the new thing of like turning on the radio. So when you log into Twitter, that's kind of like turning on the radio.
It's straight up, dude. It's crazy.
Seeing what's going on in the world. So yeah, that's really how I keep my finger on the pulse of what's going on and get all the opinions that come with it. But it's interesting.
For sure. Like out in the UK, this is going to sound super American, bro, but is BBC like the CNN that we have here? Or is it more so like kind of just like an objective point of view out there?
BBC is different from CNN for a few reasons. First of all, it's taxpayer funded.
Okay.
So it's paid for by the public.
Wow.
As a result of that, BBC does get a lot of accusations of having a bias, and I think it certainly does in terms of who works there. Like there's certainly a liberal dominance in media in general. You know, if you were to survey people at the BBC, and I think anyone at the BBC would admit this, you know, you're going to get more liberal people and you get conservative people. But with that said, I do think that they certainly try to do a decent job of keeping things fairly neutral and balanced, and if they're having something that's something like Question Time or some other show which is based on opinion, they will seek out people from both sides and try to get a 50-50 balance. So they certainly put in that kind of effort. And in the BBC, they don't lie. Like CNN,
Okay.
CNN,
That's a big point.
CNN lies sometimes, right?
Yeah,
like
for sure.
They pushed the whole thing about Trump being a Russian agent who colluded with Vladimir Putin to win the elections. Like they pushed that conspiracy theory for almost 3 years.
Years.
Yeah, they pushed that for years, and so there have been certain things that are on there, and I'm just like, that's not actually true. Or they'll say something someone said, and you're like, no, you didn't actually quote them correctly. Like that's not correct. So the BBC is a lot more particular with that. You know, there might be something you might think, oh, that's skewed that way or that's skewed that way, but it's not a blatant
Attack.
It's not blatantly, we really like this candidate or this party or this political thing, and we really dislike this one.
They're not like defaming anybody.
No. It's not like, you know, CNN is clearly anti-Trump.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas they're clearly pro-Democrat, anti-Republican, anti-Trump. They probably won't admit that, but it's pretty clear, all right? But with the BBC, you wouldn't be like, oh, they're clearly in favor of conservative, or they're clearly in favor of Labour, or they're super pro-Brexit, or they're super anti-Brexit.
Anybody and everybody tunes in.
Yeah, it's pretty balanced. You know, with these things, I think it's difficult to get it perfect, and I think they've got a decent balance because you have people who are on the left-wing side of things who think that BBC is biased in favor of conservatives, and you have a lot of more right-wing people who think that BBC is biased in favor of liberal.
The liberal side.
So if both sides are making that accusation, that's probably a decent sign that, for the most part, they're relatively neutral.
So like in your case with the whole like you making headlines, were you on BBC? Did they put you on BBC?
Yeah, I've been on BBC a few times.
So like how did they spin your story? Like, you know, that's what I want to know.
So like I said, it wasn't really spun. It was presented in a very neutral fashion.
Okay.
In fact, it was so neutral, the first interview that I did on there, that it was so neutral that it made me laugh just by the title of the topic, right? The title was Do biological men have a strength advantage over biological women?
Wow.
That
Just
was,
like that.
That was the question, and I was kind of sitting there like, how is this a question? Like, this is not a matter of opinion here. This is a fact.
It's fact.
The answer is yes. And we all know it's yes. Right?
Should have started the interview to answer the title of the video. Yeah, yes.
Yeah. If woman in this building wants to arm wrestle me and prove me wrong, then we can do push-ups.
Push-up content.
We can do bench press. We can do.
You
it's
bust
like
out a pull-up bar.
There's a difference, and you know it's fine. Like that's okay. Like I've said many a times, like that's cool. It's part of what makes life interesting.
Yeah.
Like it's you've got that interplay between the two sexes, and men have generally have their strengths and weaknesses, and women compensate for those strengths and weaknesses, and men compensate for, and it's cool. You put the two together, and the human species is like cool. We've got all the bases covered.
Yeah.
Of course, you'll have men who are more feminine. You'll have women who are more masculine. That's fine. There's plenty of diversity and leeway and overlap and all that. But fundamentally, especially if you're going to go to the far ends of it, right? If you're going to look for the 1 million strongest people in the world, all 1 million will be male.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to say the 100 strongest or the 1,000, like the 1 million strongest. Like they're all going to be dudes.
Dude,
right? Like
it's insane how true that is.
Yeah, and that
undeniable.
Yeah.
Undeniable.
Yeah, and that's fine. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying here. But yeah, it was just weird that was even the topic. But I think that shows that they're trying to be very neutral.
Yeah,
they're not trying to swing it, push it in one way or the other, and make it like, okay, there's clearly an agenda here. And with everything, they try to present both sides. So if I may have my view, they'll try to bring on someone later who actually has an opposing view, who maybe thinks that, it's better, it's kinder, it's nicer, it's more inclusive, it's more compassionate to allow people to compete in sport as whatever gender they choose to identify as. And it's like, okay, I disagree with you, but they can then say they've presented both sides of it.
Has the all gender restroom made its way to the
It
UK?
has, yeah, it has. yeah.
What do you think about
Especially
that,
in
bro?
certain restaurants and bars and universities.
Dude, I feel bad for women. They have to deal with the nastiest toilets now. Like, we were dealing with it for a minute. Like, you know what I mean? And, like, to the point where it's like, yeah, it's the public restroom.
Yeah.
But now you're literally sharing the same space as, like, a woman. And they actually either, like, barely, hover over it or sit on it. We don't have to sit on it. Like, you know what I mean? Dude, how insane is that, bro? They did it at Cal State Fullerton right here.
Oh, okay.
It was my first time using one.
Yeah.
And in my mind, like, the stalls are huge, like, they're walled off, like, you literally cannot peek over, none of that, you know? So from my point of view, the whole time, I was just like, dude, I feel so bad for the girls. That's
Dude,
it.
The thing is with all of this stuff is, see, I'm not a feminist, okay? And people know I have my beef with a lot of aspects.
Meninism.
I have a beef with a lot of aspects of modern day feminism. I think it's quite a destructive force, to be honest with you. But the truth is, with a lot of this stuff, is it's a lot more harmful and dangerous for women than it is for men. That's the reality. You know, if you're gonna have a changing room which anybody can use, then it's not the men who are generally gonna be. It's not the men that's gonna be a potential security risk
Threat.
or a concern or a threat or something that makes them feel really uncomfortable,
Yeah.
right? Like if you're in the men's changing room at a gym or something, and 5 women walk in and start getting changed next to you, you might be like, oh, that's kind of weird, but you probably wouldn't feel threatened or intimidated, okay? If there's a female changing room and 10 dudes walk in there and start stripping and getting changed, like, I'm not a woman, but I imagine that would be pretty threatening and uncomfortable for them.
Let me know
Okay.
if, like, you feel the same
So,
way. Oh, my bad.
yeah.
Go ahead. Continue.
Yeah. So it's like with a lot of this stuff, it's just weird to me because on one hand, people will be saying, we want to, protect women and they should be allowed to have their own spaces and be safe and be secure and all that. And I'm like, yeah, I agree with you on that. But then if you're going to then start letting males encroach on that, then it's like, well, which way do you want this? I don't really get it. It's confusing to me.
I think, like, the basis of, like, our feelings on that topic is that, dude, men are fucking trash.
Nah, men are awesome.
No, we are. I mean, like, but I know that, but I mean, it's not like we're doing it to, like, be separatist or
No,
like,
no.
you know what I'm saying? It's more so for, like, the safety and
It's a
security
safety
of
thing,
the
man.
women.
Of
Like,
course.
because we know the dangers of the stupid man,
That's true.
of the uneducated man.
Exactly.
That's what I meant.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
no, that's true.
Men made, like, what we have today. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm not, like,
yeah.
negating that fact. But
Yeah, no, it's true. The majority of people who are, aggressive or violent or criminal or, potential sexual abusers or anything like that, vast majority are male. It doesn't mean the vast majority of males do those things, but, you can look at any prison population or whatever, or look at rates of crime, and that's just a fact. And again, there are biological factors that play into that. Increased testosterone, increased aggression, all these kind of factors, which if not channeled well, can manifest in dangerous ways in society, as people see. So I can totally get if women don't want penises in their changing room.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna start saying that's sexist against men or something. It's like, yeah, okay, I get you.
yeah.
I don't want penises in my changing room either, to be honest with you.
I mean, you grew up in Saudi, so you probably kind of know a little bit of this. But, like, in Islam, it's like a lot of people look at Islam and be like, oh, like, women are oppressed. Like, they're forced to wear their hijab, or, like, they pray behind the men, or, like, whatever, But what people don't know, I mean, like, at the root of it, it has nothing to do with, like, sexism or, like, it more so has to deal with the corruption of man when it comes to, like, innate behaviors, like primitive behaviors.
I understand that completely, man.
Yeah.
Having grown up in
So
Saudi.
here, especially, like, you know what I mean? With all this feminist movement stuff going on, and, like, how they're trying to have every girl who wears a hijab, like, rip the hijab off, like, take it off, like, free yourself. It's like, you guys are so lost on, like, the the true meaning of it. You know what I mean? So I mean, how you said like you're not a fan of feminism. I'd have to agree. I mean, like especially here in the States, it's fucking crazy, bro. Excuse my French, but it's gotten to the point to where like they're literally like telling Muslim girls who like post selfies with hijabs like, girl, you need to free yourself from that hijab. That shit's suppressing you. You got an oppressive family. Blah blah blah.
But it's confusing because then you will also have the ones who want to wear it as some sort of sign of female empowerment,
Like emboldenment.
Yeah.
100%. You know,
it's weird. You know, you'll have the.
You're talking about like this, like she's probably part of like the Muslim student group or something like that, like the super emboldened one. Oh, you're talking about like the non-Muslims wearing.
Yeah, I'm talking about non-Muslim
that's another one.
women wanting to kind of like co-opt it as some
I feel
sign
that
of
100%.
empowerment or something, which is mixed messages. I actually like people need to work out their messaging and be like, okay, which one is it? You know, is the hijab oppressing you? Is the hijab oppressing you, or is it a sign of empowerment? Like this is not my fight. I don't know. I've never won one.
Yeah, but I mean that's like a problem that we face in society, like the miscommunication of how someone truly feels, or like what the exact reason why someone's doing something. You know what I mean? And reverting back to your whole blowing up stuff, it's like you did such a great job of like showing everybody that you can literally use someone's like logic against them. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Especially in a time like now, everything's sensitive. Like, we live in the snowflake, like SJW era, So when you do use their own logic against them, they don't know what to say. And they usually have something to say for everything. You know what I mean? It's wild.
Yeah.
So like my last podcast, my friend, he's super, I would say like liberal. Dude, he got like offended at just like me, just asking about Antifa. You know what I mean? Like wanting to know about Antifa.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's super sensitive times now, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I'm blessed that I'm not a sensitive person.
Yeah, for real. So would you say that like your opinions and your like, your where you stand, do you reflect that into your music because you rap?
That's a good question. I mean, my music is generally apolitical and always has been. I think when I get back into writing and whatnot, I think I'm going to touch a little bit more on some of the stuff that I hit on my social media that seems to resonate with people. But generally, I mean, I don't want to. My music is not. It's not a vehicle for anything socio-political.
Okay.
And I'm not super. I've got my beliefs. I've got my ideas and whatever. But ultimately, if I'm creating art as an entertainer, I'm not trying to just make music for conservative people, or just make music for liberal people, or just make like I don't
normal people.
I don't care. You know what I mean? It's like these are my views. These are whatever. But I want to inspire and motivate people. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
I stand for the truth, and I stand for authenticity. So that means that sometimes leads into something that could be considered socio-political or whatever. But it's more like if something is what I feel is just like an attack on truth, or attack on fairness, or what's actually just, or what's fair, or what's good, then yeah, that might be deemed through a political lens. But to me, it's not. That's just sort of standing up for. It's just a wider expansion of what I'm already trying to put out there.
Embody.
Exactly.
That's what it's called. Perseverance, right? Your album they just came out with.
Perseverance. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, for me, when I rap, like I try not to make it too political, but like how you said it was perfect. Like you just make it about maybe like your current struggle, like what you're going through, or like how you're currently feeling. That's awesome. How'd you get into rap?
So I started rapping when I was in university. I started rapping in my first year of uni. Before that, I'd been a hip hop fan from probably around the age of 12. When I went to boarding school here in the UK, like my older brothers used to listen to quite a lot of hip hop when I was a kid. And I wasn't really into music as a kid. I was much more into art and drawing. I wanted to be a cartoonist. But then, I kind of started listening to, Eminem and Dre and Nas and Ice Cube and stuff like that when I was like 12 or 13. And I just became a fan of a whole bunch of rappers. And I used to go with my friends, and we used to just buy mad CDs and burn mini discs and download.
Napster.
Yeah, we'd just be, it would take a day to download a song. We'd just be consuming music like crazy. Just we had crazy amounts of music. So that was when I really sort of fell in love with hip hop, especially in my mid-teens. And then a few years later, when I was 18, 19, I just started rapping as fun. Started out as a hobby and realized it was something I was good at and had a talent in. So I kept on doing it. Started taking it more and more seriously. People started enjoying it. I released my first album when I was 19, after I'd been rapping for less than a year, and promoted and sold that. That was a CD called Commercial Underground, so that sort of created the initial ripples and beginnings of a fan base for me. And then, after I graduated, I put out my second album, and kept on doing music. I've now been doing it full time for almost 8 years.
Wow.
So I've got 5 albums and 3 EPs to date. So Perseverance is the most recent one that came out this year.
Do you have Perseverance on like all platforms?
It's
like,
on everything. Yeah. You
check out Perseverance, guys, by Mr. Zuby.
You can get that Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, Tidal, whatever you use.
Bada bing, bada boom.
It's on there.
Do you produce your beats as well, or like do you have like a homie who like just he's in the studio just working?
I work with a range of different producers all
cool.
over the world. So I've never made a beat in my life. I don't know if you open up Cubase
you just
or
spit
Logic
that
Pro Tools,
fire.
I just spit that fire. I write that fire. I spit that fire. But I don't make beats. I don't know how to make beats.
That's cool. Me either. I'm a good co-producer. Like, oh, that sounds good. Like,
I can do that. I can be like,
like
oh yeah,
that. I like
sound.
that.
Yeah, make more of that sound.
Yeah.
Make,
that sound that.
Yeah. Make it sound like like that sound, like that one. Yeah.
Were you do you like know any instruments or anything like that? Did you have any musical background?
Yeah,
or
I used to play piano. I used to do piano recitals as a kid.
the keys, dude.
Yeah,
nice.
I used to play piano. I played piano for about 7 years.
Wow.
And I played trombone for 2 years as well.
Hey, me too.
Oh, really?
Were you in jazz band?
Yeah, something like that.
Hey,
Yeah,
I started on tuba and then I did trombone for jazz.
Okay.
So that's cool. Hell yeah, man. I did keys too, but for like the pit and drumline, like the percussion stuff, xylophone type. So it doesn't really count, but that's cool, man. I mean, with your rap and stuff like that, do you feel like that's your main kind of thing that you do outside of, professional life? Or do you have any other vices or like, fun stuff that you do that you consume your time?
I go to the gym.
Hey, oh, that's right. Fitness is big. Yeah,
Fitness
for sure.
is big.
For sure.
I do a lot of podcasts and a lot of interviews, and I want to be doing more writing and more speaking, and look, anything I can do that I think helps people and puts my message out there and represents my brand and is creative, I'm down for. I'm just open to ideas.
Congrats on your book, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much, man. Thank you.
The link's on your Twitter profile, correct?
It is,
the ebook, and then you can also order it. I guess it's on Amazon, or
it's not on Amazon.
Okay.
No,
on your website.
It's on my website, teamzuby.com. So you can go get that. The book is called Strong Advice, and it's been extremely well received. People are getting good results from it. People are making progress. People are learning.
How long has it been out?
I put it out in, I think, May.
Oh, okay, cool.
In May,
so
I did a
you
short.
probably got some good feedback already.
Yeah, definitely. So the ebook's got really positive reviews. A lot of people wanted me to do a paperback version, so I did a couple hundred of those, and those sold out. Those are sold out now. I might do another run before Christmas.
That's awesome,
there's the
man.
demand for it. So, it's been good. It's been sort of experimental in a way. I've never written nor released a book before.
Yeah,
so.
that must have been a journey within itself.
Exactly.
For sure.
But I'm someone who just does things. Like, I don't do things by half measures. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go hard.
I mean, that weightlifting competition speaks for itself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
Would you say?
No half measures.
Do you guys have like CrossFit out there in the? Do you know what CrossFit
absolutely.
is?
Yes.
Like small type gyms. Like,
Absolutely.
do you go to like a mainstream one, or like, do you work out at home? Like, what's your regiment look like?
I work out at a mainstream gym. I work out at the biggest gym chain in the UK. So it's called Pure Gym.
Costco Gym. No, just Pure Gym. That's pure, dude.
Yeah, Pure Gym.
That's pretty pure.
One of the big ones. So I don't normally shout out brands on unless they're paying me, but yeah, Pure Gym's dope.
We'll like beep. We'll beep that out.
They can give me a sponsorship.
So let me ask you this, man. Like, okay, I'm an ectomorph. I don't know if you guys use that. No such thing?
No.
Oh. We just got into we just dug deep a little bit. Hold on. Okay. So I'm a skinny guy who's tall and lanky, and it's hard for me to gain weight.
Eat more.
Dude, I do. I don't know if you've been to In-N-Out yet.
I have. It was the first thing we did.
Okay. What you had, like a double combo? Dude, I eat 2 double doubles, like fries, a shake, and a soda. That's like
It's not good for your
4,000 calories, dude. Yeah. And on that level, like I eat a lot. Just not like what's it called? Gluttony. Not like I'm not glutinous or anything like that, or gluttonous.
Yeah.
But I eat a lot, dude. But I don't gain weight. And I've been told like you have to eat till your jaw hurts. You have to eat till your jaw hurts.
That
You're about to
sounds
you have to
horrible.
eat till you yeah. So I mean from you, especially, since like you're not from the States and stuff like that. Dude, what do you recommend? Like what's like a good way besides steroids for me to gain weight or gain some muscle?
Eat more.
But like anything or like, you know what I mean?
Well, you want your food to be nutritional. I wouldn't to be nutritious. I wouldn't recommend just pounding down fries and double doubles all day long, because that's gonna have some negative
High
impacts
cholesterol.
on your
Yeah.
cholesterol and your heart and stuff like that.
Like, do you do like the whole protein shake thing where like you almond butter, protein, whatever?
The thing, I don't struggle to gain weight at all. I never have. I need to keep my calories in check more than I need to. I don't need to ever force myself to eat, right? I've never had to do any kind of force feeding, because my natural thing will always lean towards gradually putting on weight. If I just eat to my appetite, I'll gain weight. So with me, it's more about restricting my consumption.
Okay.
So if you're someone who really, really struggles to gain weight, though, then I would look into some kind of. Do you like nuts?
I do pistachios, cashews.
I eat a lot of nuts just because they're so calorie dense. Nuts, nut butters, peanut butter, and then you can also look into weight gain shakes if you need to, or you can make your own. You can use like whole milk, peanut butter, maybe some oats, banana.
Yeah.
So you can use coconut oil, something like that, something that's calorie dense, so you can just pound down, easily add an extra 500, 100.
And you're talking
100
like
calories
throughout
to
the
a
day, like not at like, separate times, like just constantly eat. That's what I've heard. Like snacks.
It doesn't matter. It's the total intake that matters. The meal frequency is irrelevant.
Okay.
In terms of gaining or losing weight. It's just what works for you. So, is your training on point?
To be honest, I got hit by a drunk driver not too long ago. So I actually went to it was crazy. Actually went to the gym for the first time like last week.
Okay.
But before that, it was, I'd say, somewhat moderate, like not too intensive as I used to. You know what I mean? But I definitely need to go to the gym more.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? But that's the thing though, when I do work out, I feel that I either stay or like fluctuate between like 165 and 170 pounds. I don't know how many kilos that would be. Dude, the US is crazy, man. We have our own, like, it's so stupid. But anyway.
70 something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I lose weight. You know what I mean? I just get more lean. Like,
leaner, yeah.
I'd say I'm very cut, but I'm trying to gain volume.
I get you.
You know?
Want to gain that mass.
Gain that mass.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Sunday mass.
Yeah.
No.
It's so funny how people tend to always want what their body type is like the opposite of, right? So people who are like
I love being
bigger,
lean, man.
People who are naturally bigger are like, trying to lean down and get slimmer or whatever. And then people who are naturally lean are like, no, I want to get bigger. And it's like, I think it's best to have that mindset shift to think of it as think of what you've got kind of in the positive light. It's like, cool, like I'm lean, like I'm not struggling with fat and obesity.
I'm so thankful, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
When people are like, "Oh, you don't do cardio?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I don't do cardio. I don't need that shit."
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like I'm not saying it's kind of just more so like I would love to gain a couple more pounds.
Yeah, no,
I should be like for my height should be like 180.
The,
you know what I mean?
The honest truth is that you just need to consume calories.
Okay.
That's literally what it boils down to. How you do that is somewhat up to you. I don't know what foods you like and what foods you don't like. It's really a matter of doing that and doing that consistently until you start seeing the scale slowly shifting up, and then continue your training, and that'll make sure that the weight you're gaining will be primarily lean body mass rather than just fat, because there's no point gaining 10 pounds if you're just gaining 10 pounds of fat.
Yeah.
That makes you look less defined and isn't going to make you any stronger. So, yeah, it's one of those things where, like I said, I've never personally had any struggle with gaining weight ever in my life. It's not in my
It's
genes.
more sort of like refining it.
It's not in my genes.
Do you go
So-
through like dietary regimens in your book, or is it more so just like fitness routines and stuff like
No,
that?
it's nutrition's the biggest section.
Oh wow, okay.
nutrition
And I
is
know
the
it's a
largest.
fairly I don't want to say short, but like it's a fairly
No,
like it's a
relatively-
good read. It's
yeah,
a
it's
good amount.
concise. Yeah, it's concise, man. It's under 100 pages. I didn't want to write. It's one of those books I could have just added twice as many words, but it wouldn't have added twice as much information or useful practical stuff. It would have just been padding, and I don't like padding. I
You
try
just want it to be cutthroat.
Yeah, I try to
Bicep curls.
Dude, I try to communicate in a rather concise way. Sometimes to the point of people saying I'm a little bit blunt, but I don't want to. I think the problem with a lot of the fitness material out there in my own mind is that some of it is just too complicated or too hypocritical and confusing. It'll say this thing here, and then it'll say something later, which kind of contradicts what they said before, and it just confuses people, and they just end up with more questions after reading it. They're just even more confused than they were before, and it puts these weird ideas in their head. So with me, it's like I just wanted to make it really concise and simple, strip out the nonsense, strip out the BS and the stuff that doesn't matter, and just make it like, look, if you want to gain weight, this is what you have to do. You calculate this, you calculate how many calories you burn every day on average, and you eat more than that. And you do that consistently until the scale starts to shift. If you're a true hard gainer, which it sounds like you are, which means you have a very adaptive metabolism. So what's basically happening is your metabolism is so efficient that even when you eat more food, your metabolism rises up to burn even more calories. So you almost have to like out eat
the meter.
Yeah, you have to out eat your metabolism if you really want to gain weight. And if you want to lose body fat, it's the opposite. You've got to consume less than you're burning. You can do that both by reducing your calorie intake, you can do it
Starving
by-
yourself.
You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. If you're someone who's super incredibly morbidly obese, then even then I wouldn't recommend starving yourself, but you can get away with a very calorie restricted diet because you've got so much fat to burn and calories attached to your body that you're walking around with that you can do away with. But I think for most people, moderation and what's sustainable is what's really important, because a lot of people's diets and nutritional efforts and training efforts fail just because they're not sustainable.
Yeah.
So if you say, okay, I'm gonna only eat these 3 foods for them, it's like you're gonna give up. Like, that's not a sustainable diet. And if you
It's
only
not enjoyable either.
it's not No,
Yeah.
and if you don't enjoy it, it's not sustainable. You have to do both when it comes to training and when it comes to diet. You have to do something that you can actually not hate.
Yeah. Touching on that, have you seen David Letterman's interview with Kanye West
No, not yet.
on Netflix?
Not yet.
Pretty good. You should watch
Okay.
it. But Kanye West touches on how he doesn't call them diets; he calls them livids.
Oh, okay.
Because what he's eating, yeah, I know, it's crazy. But like what he's eating, it's not killing him. Like he's not dying. He's enjoying it. Like he's living through it.
Okay,
So
gotcha,
I like
yeah.
how you said that.
Yeah.
That's
And-
crazy.
Yeah, and don't even think of stuff as a temporary diet. You want to just change your overall habits. So when people diet, again, it tends to be a really short-term thing. Like if you've been training a while and it's like, okay, I've been going through this building up phase and I want to have a fat loss phase, then you can have like go on a diet for 8 to 16 weeks or whatever it takes to get down to your desired body weight. But really you want to think about it as changing your overall lifestyle and just building perseverance, building certain good
Get
habits.
the album now on all audio platforms.
Out now.
No,
Yeah.
that's beautiful, man. That's well said. Like, I mean, if you haven't already checked out his Twitter profile, or go to Zuby. Was it teamzuby.com
At Zuby Music on Twitter.
on Twitter? But
Teamzuby.com.
teamzuby.com. Get the ebook. He said he's doing paperbacks. I don't know if he's out. You're out of them now.
They're currently sold out.
He might
The
do another
ebook is
round.
there. Yeah. Let me know if you want them.
Yes. No, that's great because I mean, people who, usually put out books, it's like, people with like sad stories or like whatever. But you're putting out something that genuinely benefits people and it's concise and it's awesome. So kudos to you, sir.
Thank you, bro.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
But you did say ectomorphs don't exist. So like, what is your philosophy behind that?
What I say, so ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorph is, I mean, what's the best way to put it? What I mean is these are sort of archetypes. It's not really something that's measurable in a way that, there are just these three body types and you are everyone is one of these three things. It's not really like that. You've just got a range of, you've got 7 billion plus different body types out there in the world, and some of them might be more like a typical ectomorph or like a typical mesomorph or like a typical endomorph or whatever, but it's really just a body.
It's like a template.
Yeah. It's kind of like a template. It's like you've got these different bodies, and then someone at some point decided, okay, I'm going to come up with these names, and most people kind of fit in one of these three things or in some combo, because you get like endomesomorphs or ectomesomorphs. I don't know if you get ectoendomorphs. Maybe that would be like skinny fat.
Yeah. He's big, but he's like skinny.
Skinny fat.
I mean, that's cool. I mean, I feel you on that, but I definitely feel like, at least between me and my friends, I have like 2 other homies who have like the same exact, like we're lanky, like we're cut, but like, dude, we can't gain weight, bro. So we're always looking up like ectomorph stuff, and Joe Rogan talks about it kind of a little bit. So we always like kind of go back and forth.
Yeah.
No, that's an interesting input. I kind of want to segue back into like society, social questions. And this question being, bro, here in the United States, this is like super, we haven't even touched on it yet. In the United States here, we have like a huge like pro, like Israeli kind of like mentality. Kind of like if you're pro USA, you have to be pro Israeli. And I know in the UK, it's kind of like mixed feelings type stuff. Like you have, what's his name, Jeremy Corbyn. He's like pro Palestine, like pro BDS and stuff like that. And I mean, me being Palestinian, like I feel like it's like my job to like, I mean, I don't like forcefully educate people on the topic. Sure. But it's more so my job to like understand everyone's type of worldview. And I'm very interested in like, the population over there in the UK. Like, would you say they're like pro-Zionist, like pro-Israeli, or like would you say it's kind of like it's neutral? If you think about it, Britain started the whole thing.
Oh, really?
I
don't know. I'll be honest with you. It's one of those topics. There's a reason you'll never hear me speak on it. It's because I don't know anything about it. Okay. So I don't talk about stuff that I'm ignorant about.
No, that's good. So that's good.
People often want to know my opinion on things, and it's like, I'm a very opinionated person on stuff I've thought a lot about and that I know the details of. But if it's something where I'm just like, I don't know, then I'm not going to pretend that I'm not going to pretend I know the details. So I'm just going to be like, I don't know. Yeah. My very basic high level assumption is like, can't you guys just like chill and sort yourselves out? Yeah.
That's how I want it.
That's my view. It's like, okay, I don't know all the history. I don't know who did what to who.
Dude, it's like, okay, and here, it's like, I mean, I wish people were like you. Yeah. It's like people who have no clue, but like want to like state their opinion. Yeah. And like, and they have no knowledge on the topic, whether they're pro-Palestinian or pro-Israeli, like they're just speaking nonsense.
I'm pro-human, dude.
Much respect. Yeah, me too. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, that's all I want.
Like, people need to stop bickering over dumb crap in general. Like this goes worldwide. This goes nationwide. Like look, we're human beings. There's this certain land and certain countries and certain cities that we need to inhabit, and people are going to be different in lots of different ways, and we can all get on with each other
for sure,
and not certain ideologies are going to clash. Certain people are going to not like other people, but ultimately people can be civil and not want to club each other over the head with their fists or rocks or weapons or shoot people with arrows or bows or throw rocks at them or whatever, because most stuff isn't that deep.
Yes.
I know people think it. I know that's not popular because people want, no, it's Zuby, it's that deep.
Thousands of years.
I'm like, it's not. At some point you can draw a line in the sand and say, you know what? Yeah, historically, on all sides, in all directions, there's been a lot of crap that people have done. Right? It's been all of our ancestors. We probably all have ancestors who have done amazing stuff, and we probably all have ancestors that we're not aware of who have done some awful, horrible things, right? So, which we're not responsible for. So, in the here and now, let's draw that line in the sand and look forward and think, okay, how can we now how can we treat each other in a way where we can have our different beliefs, political, religious, cultural, people can be of different skin colors, different orientations, whatever, and you can all put them here, and they're not going to kill each other, which generally people do. It's actually quite a miracle in some ways.
Yeah, straight
that,
up.
You can have a place like Los Angeles or New York or London and say, well, actually, you do have kind of just everybody here. And for the most part, people are getting on with their lives and respecting each other and being polite and being kind and being cool. So it can be done. You'll have people say, oh, no, it's impossible. It can't be done. We must segregate everybody along. It's like, no, you don't actually have to do that. People can be fine, and you can respect each other's cultures and beliefs and whatever. A lot of stuff just boils down to, just don't be an a-hole.
Don't be an a-hole.
Don't be an a-hole. Don't take people's stuff. Don't hurt people. And generally, you'll be cool.
I was gonna follow up with the whole diversity in the UK, especially like England, like London. You know what I mean? It's like is the Muslim guy still the mayor over there?
Sadiq Khan, yeah.
Right. How is there a turmoil? Is it like just everyone chilling? Like, you know what I mean? Because there's you have Desis, like you have Punjabis, you have Pakistani Indian, whole mix, Bangladesh, you have the Arabs, whoever. You know what I mean? So like, is there guys yelling in the street, You Syrian, go back to Syria, refugee.
Nah, that's very rare, man.
That's cool, dude.
That's very rare.
That's
man.
super cool, man.
No,
you have that here for sure.
Yeah, I mean, most people are decent. This is really most people are decent. I mean,
What a blessing.
You've always got a small percentage of human beings who make stuff kind of bad and worse for everybody else. Whether you're talking about criminals who, what percentage of people are criminals? It's a really small percent.
Yeah.
And that small percent just kind of messes stuff up for everybody else, right? If it weren't for that little percent, we could all unlock our houses and unlock our cars and just go around.
No fences.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're really all of that security, all of that police, the justice system, whatever. That's really to probably protect you from like 1% of the population.
Yeah,
most
all
people
that
aren't trying
exists
to do
because of the lack of trust between human beings.
Yeah, and
Crazy.
if you're in a super high trust society, then you don't need all of these things, right? If in your own house, with your own family, with your own friends, you're not like locking
On
things
guard,
up and putting up walls and barriers and all that.
Do you feel that we can truly achieve like a pure utopia?
No. Never.
What's like your why?
Because human beings are flawed.
Yes.
And we all have within us and are capable of great good and also great evil. Right?
It's insane.
And that's how it is, and you could maybe say that that's how it should be. The same thing that allows you to protect yourself or your loved ones or fight for what you believe in is the same thing that would allow you to hurt another person or to take from another person or whatever, right? Like these fists right here, you could do good with them and help people. Like these hands, you could help people with your hands. You can create stuff. You can create art. You can make music. You can film video. You can do these things with your hands. You can also use them to grip a gun or to grip a weapon or to just hit someone or whatever. And that's just reality. That's probably quite a good metaphor for just what it's like to be a human being, right? You can do good. You can do bad. Lots of things are just tools. With this microphone, I can use this microphone to spread a message. I could also detach it and club somebody over the head.
Straight up.
That doesn't make the microphone, good or bad. It's just like I
think that's like a great rule of the universe. I mean, like everything and anything could be a tool. Like you use it for good, use it for bad. You use it for kind of good, kind of bad. You know what I'm saying? That's beautiful that you said that.
Yeah, man.
So, like, just in general, would you say that, your upbringing, in Saudi and like, in your time in university and stuff like that, would you say you struggled with people accepting your worldview, and that's like what made you who you are today? Or would you more so say that your upbringing throughout your experiences in like different countries and, you know, different schools and stuff made you who you are today?
I'd certainly say it helped to make me who I am today when combined with my personality. I'm not someone whose worldview is, how would I say? I think most people agree with me on most things. Sometimes it doesn't seem
rational people.
Sometimes it doesn't seem that way with like some of the online stuff, but in the real world, when I'm allowed to express my opinions or articulate my beliefs or whatever, like a lot of people agree with me on a lot of stuff. I'm not some kind of I'm not like a radical who's got like some super weird political ideology or some view or some crazy. It's like, no, I'm pretty.
You're not making videotapes from like a cave or something.
No, like I think I'm pretty reasonable and rational and kind and compassionate, and I'm not trying to make things worse for anybody or, you know, discriminate against anybody or harm anybody or anything like that. And so, you know, it comes down to sort of details, right? Someone might think, I might think taxes should be lower. Someone else might think taxes should be higher. I might think this, they might think that. I might think border policy should be this, they might think it should be. To me, that's like details. It's like, cool, those are interesting conversations. We can see where people are coming from here. With a lot of things, again, as opinionated and outspoken as I might be, some stuff I'm like, you know what, this is what I think, but I don't know. Like,
and that's crucial.
Yeah,
that's crucial to being a human being.
There's a lot of stuff I don't know. Most things I don't know. I can say what I think, I can say what I feel, I can say what my opinion is, I can say what conclusions I've drawn from research and reading or whatever that I've done or conversations that I've had, but I don't know for sure on everything. You know, we're here in LA. Something I've been talking about with a lot of people, because it's a very visual thing here, is, you know, the homelessness and the drug problems and whatever, right?
Oh, man.
I've got some ideas of why this may be the case and certain ways which perhaps it could be improved, but I don't know. I don't know, right? It's probably very multifaceted. Some of my ideas are probably on point. Some of them, maybe they won't work. Some of them may help. Some of them may harm. I don't know. And it's complicated because anything involving human beings, especially a lot of them, is going to be complicated.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I think that kind of ties back to what you said previously. Like, you know, everyone's different. So like the fact that you might not know those certain things, there's someone out there who might know. You know what I mean? And then it's crazy, man. Like this existence within itself, I feel like it's pivoting towards a very weird time for, you know, beings such as us who hold such like a value to human life. Because there's people who are just blindsided by, you know, identifying as a certain thing and, you know, engulfing a certain type of, you know, socio-norm like personality that they see on TV. Like, oh, that person identified as a lizard, I'm gonna identify as a lizard.
Oh yeah.
You know. So, all in all, man,
lizard lives
your work and your time and everything you've done to build yourself and your brand, I respect and I appreciate you. You know, being an inspiration for like, you know, young guys like me who are, you know, persevering through this time. And I wanted to give you like, you know, like a minute, just, you know, talk about what you have going on right now. Where can people find you?
Sure.
And you know, what you got going on in the next couple months?
No doubt. So, you can find me on everything at Zuby Music if you use social media. So my main website is zubymusic.com. That is ZUBY music.com. I'm at Zuby Music on all social media. Definitely follow me on Twitter because that's the most fun. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. If you search Zuby on YouTube or Zuby Music, you'll find me on there. I've got my podcast, Real Talk with Zuby, available on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, anywhere else where you listen to podcasts. Just search for a Zuby podcast or Real Talk with Zuby. I talk to interesting guests every single week. And I've got my new album out now, Perseverance, The Best of Zuby, available on all those same channels. And I've also got my book out, Strong Advice, Zuby's Guide to Fitness for Everybody. You can also get that on my website, teamzuby.com. So go check that out.
God bless you, sir. Whatever gender you associate as your deity, bless this man. Dude, for real, I appreciate you coming out and
blessed, bro.
giving us your time here, man. This has been Channel T, episode 27, and it's a wrap!